Welcome back. Taking a new approach to retail as the industry is facing headwinds, especially from competition like e-commerce giants. Nordstrom is using the mindset of the millennial to boost sales. This is a 100-year-old retailer. It's focused on the customer experience, and it is actually seeing results. Joining me right now is the Chief Research Officer of H2 Research, Hitha Herzog. Hitha, good to see you.
Good to see you,
Thanks so much for joining us this morning. So what is Nordstrom doing?
Nordstrom is getting on board with what most retailers should have been doing 5 years ago, which is listening to their consumer. Basically, Nordstrom has a hand on their pulse on how their consumer spends. They also have had some diminishing same-store sales, so they're realizing very quickly that we have to innovate. So the best way to do that is to listen to what their consumer is saying and making sure that not only are the products online, but kind of cater to what they want, which is to get more political, which is to, we saw what happened with Ivanka Trump, get rid of some of their merchandise based on a protest that was going online, and really kind of like acclimate themselves.
Well, look at the stock. It's really come down just in the last couple of days in terms of what's the impact has been. I want to ask you about this whole Ivanka Trump story. This makes like perfect sense, of course. I mean, what retailer wouldn't listen to its customers and act accordingly? Abercrombie & Fitch is also testing different things, listening to what customers want.
Right. I mean, you'd be surprised, though. I've been covering this for 8 years. It's taken them 7 years in order to understand really what their customer wants. And it really had to do with, same-store sales thinking, revenues diminishing. They finally said, oh, my gosh, you know what, maybe we should listen to what our customers have been saying all along. Really, in the case of Abercrombie & Fitch, really focus on doing micro stores. They had these gargantuan stores where they overloaded on their product. No one was purchasing it, and they had all this overstock. So now what they're doing is making these micro stores so people can go in there, try on the merchandise, have a more catered experience. These millennials right now, they want a more specific experience when they go shopping. So back in the day when I was going to the mall, it was just sort of mass market. You go in there, you get whatever you want. People kind of look the same. Now it's very much tailored to that individual.
Earlier you said, when we talk about Nordstrom getting political. Does that work? I mean, let's talk about Macy's for a second, getting pressured to take Ivanka Trump's products off of the shelf. First of all, why?
Well, let's go back a little bit. Macy's took Trump's products off the shelves, and what they wanted to do was make sure, this was right when he was saying pretty contentious things during the election about, Mexicans being certain, very just contentious stuff on the campaign trail. They wanted to not seem political, and they also they said, Terry Lundgren, the CEO and chairman, said that if Hillary Clinton had a line out, even if she had handbags out, they would take those off the shelves. So
okay.
Macy's stance was that they didn't want to become political. This, for Nordstrom and some other retailers that are following suit with Ivanka Trump, they're saying that it had everything to do with sales. So her product wasn't moving. Therefore, every year they take about 10% off the shelves of product that isn't selling very well. But what we have to ask then, was it a political move, or did it have everything to do with pricing?
And will it backlash? I mean, in this political environment that we're all living, we know half the country voted for Donald Trump. So exactly. Is it going to backlash if Macy's takes her products off?
Well, my whole stance is that, listen, it is a free country. You are free to buy whatever you want. We're free to boycott. However, it is up to the retailers to target exactly what I've been saying, that consumer. If you know what your consumer wants to buy, then target that consumer. And you're absolutely right. The rest of the country voted for him. Therefore, they should buy accordingly. And so what's to say that another, people won't boycott another retailer? And we saw that boycott that was going on during Christmas, the stores that didn't have that Christmas wording. A lot of people were boycotting those stores for whatever reason.
Well, how would you characterize retail right now with the e-commerce success and the brick and mortars sort of trying to catch up?
Basically, the stores that have focused on e-commerce for the last 4 years are the ones that are going to be succeeding. And you're seeing it all across the country. You're seeing retailers. I just went into a BCBG store, and they are liquidating 70% off because 150 stores are closing. They're going to have 2 stores in New York City. That is happening across the country, and not just with specialty stores like BCBG, but we're seeing that with Macy's. We're seeing that with JCPenney and Sears, for example. That's a great example. That was a big one that happened over the holidays.
Amazon's eating everybody's lunch.
Amazon is the juggernaut,
Yeah.
and it is it's the retailer that retailers need to go up against in terms of e-commerce.
Yeah, and whether it's e-commerce or original content or anything else, they are just taking market share from a whole host of industries. But back to this whole idea of getting political. Did it work for Macy's when it took Donald Trump's products off the shelves, saying, look, we just don't want to be in the middle of this, and if Hillary Clinton had a line, we would take hers off as well? Did it work for them?
Well, look at their same-store sales. They've had diminishing same-store sales for December and January, so that didn't really have that much of an impact. I mean, you know, they were trying to be they're trying to be brand agnostic, which I think in some ways, I mean, it helped them, but you know, just in terms of a publicity standpoint. But in terms of sales, no. Macy's has bigger problems other than the fact that they are selling product that has the Trump name on it, or you know, any sort of political name. They really need to figure out exactly what they are selling in those stores, how it resonates with those customers, and then go out there and generate those sales.
Yeah, really good point. Hitha, good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Thank you so much. Hitha Herzog joining us there.